One of the major effects of climate changing is the melting of glaciers. The regions most affected by melting of glaciers are Antarctic, the Arctic Ocean, and Greenland ice sheets. Glaciers are important because they help the Earth not to overheat. This is because light-colored surfaces, such as glaciers, reflect the sun's radiation. It is also the world's first water supply. The main reason glaciers have become to melt is because of human activity. For example, carbon dioxide emission is our one big culprit. The mass amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases produced by the human business, transportation, deforestation, and fossil fuel usage rise into the air where they stop the heat from the sun from bouncing back to space. Another reason for ice melt is the warmth of the ocean. These large bodies of water absorb 90% of Earth's total warmth. This means that sea ice floating in the ocean is subject to higher temperature and naturally melts as a result. But human activity is not responsible for other causes of glacier melt. In some areas, complex interactions between the wind and ocean circulation patterns have helped to push naturally occurring warm water close to the edge of the ice. Due to the increase in temperature, the glaciers are melting at a faster rate, causing enormous consequences. These problems are the rising sea level, the increased extreme weather, the loss of species, and the loss of fresh water. The biggest and most notable impact of glacier melting is in the rising of sea level. In total, the sea has risen by 2.7 centimeters since the 1960s, and the world's glaciers still contain enough to rise the ocean by another half a meter, which could directly threaten many cities in coastal regions. If the world does nothing to mitigate sea level rise, coastal flooding will become so extreme and destructive of crops that it could cause damage worth up to 20% of global gross domestic product by 2100, according to the new research. Coastal erosion caused damage to the homes of people living around the coastal lines and as well as the destruction of seawalls. A study in journal Science reports say rising sea level could cost the global economy 14.2 trillion in loss or damaged assets by the end of century. As large areas of land, homes to millions of people, are inundated, the study estimates that as many as 287 million people could be exposed to episodic coastal flooding by 2100. The area most at risk of extensive flooding, including the northern east coast of the United States, northern Europe, and a large part of Asia, including countries around the Bay of Bengal, Indonesia, China, and northern Australia. Sea level rise also destroy crops and brackish well water. The rising sea level affects the soil concentration to cause crops to die and well water to become brackish. Hence, people will find it difficult to find food and water for satisfying their daily needs. For instance, most breadfruit trees have died due to the increased level of seawater, which reach the land cause crops to die and well water to become brackish. Therefore, sea level rise affects people's need for food, water, and shelter. Weather conditions are closely related to human social, economic, agricultural, and industrial activity. As a result of sea level rise, the storm surge become more prevalent, with warm air and ocean temperature combining to increase the frequency of coastal storms. Warm temperatures can cause higher level of precipitation, which means more snowfall. Floods already cause billions of dollars every year in damage, like houses, buildings, and vital infrastructure like roads, pipes, and electricity plants. Farms and croplands are destroyed. Flooding is now the most common and costly natural disaster in the United States, causing $155 billion in property damage in the last decade. The species are also at risk. Many land and sea animals rely on the glaciers as their natural habitat, and as they disappear, so does the rich economy as they shelter. For example, the emperor penguin, Adelaide penguin, ringed seal, Arctic fox, and polar bear will be extincted by 2100. The emperor penguin are usually subtitled to climate change, and population can be decimated by even slight warm trend. If the warming continues at its current pace, experts predict that the emperor penguin will be extinct by the year 2100. Other penguins that will be extinct are other penguins. Adelaide penguins feed on krill, which is a small crustacean that live under ice sheets. Under these ice sheets, the krill take refuge where they can live as long as 10 years and feed off algae. The krill population is dwindling as the ice sheet of the Antarctic are melting off, and so the penguins have to travel out of their natural habitat in search of food. This causes them to lose energy that they could have been used in breeding and caring for their offspring. The next animal that will be dying is the ringed seal. They nest and breed on packed ice and ice floes. Precisely the habitat most at risk from global warming, and they are one of the main sources of food both for polar bear and indigenous human. On the other end of the food chain, ringed seals subsist on various Arctic fish and invertebrates. It's unknown what the knock-off effect might be if the population of this mammal gradually or suddenly plummeted. Arctic fox are becoming extinct because of the competition with the decreasing snow cover. The Arctic fox cannot rely on its winter coat of white fur for camouflage, so red fox find it increasingly easy to locate and kill their competition. The ice that covers the Arctic is shrinking at 14% each decade. This is also the hunting ground for polar bear. With the rapid decay in quality of ice, there are two options: either the polar bear dies or starvation, or they search for other areas for food and survive, like land. As the species becomes extinct, there will be a bad impact on the ecosystem. Another consideration problem is the loss of fresh water. Water covers 70% of our planet. However, only 3% of the world's water is freshwater. The major compartment for freshwater storage are glaciers and groundwater, which are being depleted rapidly and at similar rates. The less ice there is, the less water there is for humans to use, whether it is for drinking, hydroelectric generation, or irrigation. Many of the water systems that keeps ecosystems thriving and feed a growing human population have become stressed. As the temperatures stay high, rivers, lakes, and aquifers are drying up or becoming too polluted to use. More than half of the world's wetlands are disappeared. Inadequate sanitation is also a problem for 2.4 billion people. They are exposed to diseases such as cholera and typhoid fever and other waterborne illness. 3 million people, most children, die each year from diarrhea disease alone. The most immediate environmental problem in major region of world is probably the scarcity of water for agriculture. In total, the loss of water result from food agriculture may be significantly greater than that resulting from industrial production and transportation. The factors are more commonly cited. Alternative energy sources provide solution to the global warming or the glacier ice melting. Solar panels are made up of solar cells that trap the heat from the sun and convert it into energy. Wind turbines are towers that use the kinetic energy from the wind to generate power. Geothermal energy utilizes the heat from the inside of Earth. Biofuels such as ethanol can be produced in your backyard by fermenting and mixing vegetable food and grain waste. Electric cars are battery powered instead of relying on the highly polluted internal combustion engine. Tidal and wave power utilize the massive power of the ocean by harnessing the energy with the generation placed on the ocean floor. Another solution plans that individuals could do is driving as little as possible. Many urban areas has excellent public transportation network. You can carpool, bicycle, walk, or jog to your destination. Save power at home by taking shorter showers, turning off the water while brush your teeth, turning off lights when they are not in use, hanging laundry outside to dry, and unplugging electronic when they are being used. These seems these simply little things make a big impact if they are done on a large scale, and they'll go a large way toward reducing your carbon footprint and save the glacier.